Welcome to the Words Anywhere Advanced Design Center. My name is Ben, and I'll be leading you through a sample order from start to add to cart. Now, to start with, we want to orient you to the screen. Everything at the top are the controls that you use to create your layout. So all the controls up here at the top. The bottom controls are used to control your viewing environment. And the right panel is what we call the layers panel. And as you create items on the design canvas, you'll see them represented here in the layers panel, and it'll show you the price and other information. So to start with, we're going to go ahead and click on Add Text. And you can see this highlighted text. You can just start typing without doing anything else. And I'm going to type, and if I hit enter, I can go to a new line. La Dolce Vita, which is the sweet life in Italian. Now, if you click off and you click back on, you can now move this wherever you want on the screen. So first of all, I'll start by selecting a font. You'll notice there's various font tabs, many fonts to choose from. And I'll point out also that as you choose a font, the sample view up top changes, so you can see what it's going to look like in that font. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the Vibes font, which I think looks nice. Click OK. Now I'm going to choose the color. The indoor colors are at the top, the outdoor colors are at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and choose a dark brown in the indoor colors and click OK. And now we get to lettering size. Now you'll notice that by default this proportional box is checked, which means that the width and the height are locked proportionally. So what that means is if I change the width to 10 inches, then the height automatically changes to the proportional 6.1 inches tall. You don't have to enter the values here if you don't want. You can also grab these handles that are on the four corners and drag the item smaller or larger or smaller, as you see here, and the numbers will automatically change in the box up above. Now, if I go ahead and uncheck the proportional box, what that does is it unlocks these two values so that you can change them independent from each other. So now if I make this 15 inches wide, it'll actually stretch it to 15 inches wide. And then I could say, well, I want the height to be 10 inches, and it'll stretch it to 10 inches. So you can make it exactly the size you want. Now, if you can also do the same thing by dragging these middle handles that have now appeared here. If you drag a middle handle, it'll actually just change one or the other value independent from the other. And so if you get to the point where you've stretched it and you say, you know what, I'm not really happy with that, you can always click on Reset Proportions and it'll relock them and it'll make them to be the proper proportions. And then you can just shrink it back down to the size you want. So that's lettering size. Make size match, we're not going to spend a lot of time on right now. It's a really important feature. But in summary, what it does is if you have two words or two phrases in the same font, it gives you the ability to make them proportional to each other by setting them to the same M height. Now, to learn more about this, we encourage you to click on this little blue circle with the question mark, and there's a lot of detailed information about what it is and how it works. So we encourage you to do that when you have a chance. The next item up here is line spacing. Now, this is really straightforward. If you make line spacing bigger, then the lines move apart. If you make it smaller, they move together. Text justification is just like in a word processing document. There's left justify, right justify, and the default is centered. Layer positioning. Now, to show you this, I'm going to go ahead and add a graphic. So we'll go here and we're going to add a shape. And we'll put a heart in here. And it's easy to make a new layer without having to go through all those menus by clicking on Duplicate Layer. Each time you have something highlighted and hit Duplicate, it just makes a copy of it. So we have 3 hearts here, and I'm going to go ahead and change the color of this one to orange red, and this one will be school bus. And you'll see that as I lay these over each other, they actually have positions in relation to each other. So the yellow is behind, well actually the red is behind all of them. Yellow is kind of the middle layer and the black is the front layer. So layer positioning actually will change these in relation to each other. So if the black is in back and I hit front, it brings it all the way to the front. If I hit back, it pushes it all the way to the back. If I hit forward, it'll bring it a layer at a time, and backward will send it back a layer at a time. So you can experiment with that, but it has everything to do with how they're positioned in relation to each other. If I highlight all these at the same time and hit the X, it will actually delete them. When we come to just the last piece of functionality, I'm going to add a little graphic here to my, and I'm going to change it to the same color as my text, and I'm going to Let's resize it just a little bit so that it looks right to my eye. And we come to the last option up here, which is flip, and flip applies only to graphics, not to lettering at this time. If I hit flip, it'll actually just give me a mirror copy. So if I want it to go in the other direction, that's the way I do that. We will eventually be able to do flip with lettering, but it's not there quite yet. So check back later on that. So now I have my layout, and I'm pretty happy with it. I like the way it looks, and if I drag a highlight box around the whole thing, it'll tell me the size, almost 15 inches tall by almost 17 inches wide. And I think to myself, I wonder if that's a good size. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Well, this is where we really set ourselves apart from other design centers. This is what makes it really special. And that is when you click on size and visualize, it'll actually zoom you out and give you the way that this lettering at this size would look on a wall that's 11 feet wide and 8 feet tall, which is this white square. And this woman is 5 foot 6 inches. So if I actually bought the lettering at this size and I put it on a wall that is 11 by 8 and a woman was standing next to it, this is exactly how it would look. We've done thousands of these for customers, thousands of these proofs for customers, and they're always right. As long as the dimensions we put in are right, then what you see is what you will get. But we can do even better. This is just a default view. We're going to customize this so that it fits the situation that we're going to put this in.